Техники Butterfly. Здесь, в принципе, два видео по Butterfly. В одном видео тренер, известный, который мы вчера смотрели, по вольному стилю, основное отличие, чем он рекомендует, как он рекомендует делать дельфин, он рекомендует это делать, как будто вы рисуете восьмерку, и тогда у вас руки натурально выходят из воды, через стороны уже готовы пронестись как можно быстрее вперед. Он это мотивирует тем, что этот момент проноса должен быть минимально короткий, для того, чтобы больше находиться в положении стрелочки и катиться с горы вниз. В этом есть свой смысл тоже. В данном виде, которое сейчас будет, по-моему, если это видео, там тренер рекомендует делать это как два крыльевых грибка практически одновременно. Таких для того, чтобы хорошо зацепиться от воды, оттолкнуться. В этом случае у вас быстрее продвижение под водой, у вас идет ускорение, то есть вы можете почувствовать тоже воду хорошо под кистью, хорошо оттолкнуться. В другом случае вы тоже, когда ведете S-образные два движения, вы метаете воду через стороны сразу в пронос. Вы тоже ищете воду, получаете опору, но время прохождения дистанции под водой, оно дольше получается. Какую выбрать технику конкретно там для вас, зависит от умения спортсмена почувствовать это или выместить первое. Второе, от его рычагов, да, от подвижности сустава, потому что такую технику сделать немножко тяжелее, если там суставы не так развиты, допустим, чем такую выметающую технику. Поэтому вы смотрите, подбираете для каждого человека свой индивидуальный шаблон, какую технику лучше использовать. Но основные моменты, это низкая голова при вдохе в баттерфляе, которая общая для всех техник плавания. Двойной удар ногами дельфина, хождение рук в воду на ширине плеч, большой палец слегка опущен для того, чтобы захват сразу сделать, ускорение грибка под водой. И один из самых важных моментов — это сочетание, когда вы должны взять вдох в какой момент и в какой момент вы должны положить голову в воду. Сейчас рассмотрим. Надо же звук включить сейчас.
What we do here at Rose Bowl to develop our butterflyers into record breakers, Olympic trial finalists, collegiate athletes, and taking that all together and helping you become the best butterflyer you can be. In this video, I will be sharing with you what we believe to be the best technical progression, how we put it all together for a strong, we will focus on what we believe to be the two main focal points, power and rhythm. If we can teach somebody to grab that power, hold that power throughout their stroke, and then how to use them to get into a great rhythm in their stroke, all of the other pieces fall into place easily. That butterfly becomes a strong, flowing stroke that everybody can work.
Если вы почувствуете ритм волны вот этой вот.
Alright, so when we talk about butterfly and we go over butterfly at Rose Bowl, there's two main focal points that I truly believe will make the stroke a butterfly. The first, and it doesn't make it easier, is creating that power. If you can create the power in butterfly, have that catch and have that power within your stroke, you start that momentum forward, okay? Once that momentum's forward, it'll help you get into that rhythm. All right, so when we talk about butterfly and we go over butterfly at Rose Bowl, there's two main focal points that I truly believe will make the stroke a butterfly. The first, and it doesn't make it easier, is creating that power. If you can create the power in butterfly, have that catch and have that power within your stroke, you start that momentum forward. Okay? Once that momentum's forward, it'll help you get into that rhythm, and now both will feed off of each other. The more you keep that power going forward and have those hips come up, and the more you keep into that dolphin motion, that rhythm of the stroke, that's how it will become a much easier stroke to do. A couple of the biggest mistakes that are made is those elbows drop, and then it starts to be kind of a domino effect. As soon as my elbows drop, I press down instead of back. That means my shoulders and body comes up, my hips start to fall, and I start to kind of just bounce down the pool. I'm sure you've seen that from plenty of swimmers on your team. Instead, if I can maintain that power, and that's my main focal point, is maintain that power, having that momentum push and keep my hips on top of the water, and then I'm able to keep that momentum going, that rhythm to the stroke going. The rhythm is what makes that fly a lot easier. It will save you from that fly. Those of you out there that fly the hardest stroke ever, you're missing the rhythm. So create the power and be strong enough to have that power in front of the stroke and then get into the rhythm. That's what will make your fly a top-level fly. So when I discuss fly, I go into a pretty rudimentary diagram here, but I just go through that dolphin motion. So you come through, and you come through, and just imagine yourself going through that motion. Pretty narrow, everything's sending forward. But that first part of the stroke here is all the pull, okay, and catch. So you get that catch and pull, you'd be climbing that slight hill. It's where you get that slight elevation on that stroke. Up top here is where we're taking that breath. Quick breath, everything sends forward, that chin right on the surface. We just have it for that slight period here, but it's supported by the pull. We'll talk about it in just a little bit, but that's where that timing comes in of that breath with that catch and pull. As we go through here, we have that recovery. Nice and easy. We talked about having that press out and sliding those hands out, and then bring your hand over as loose and relaxed as you possibly can. The more relaxed you can stay here, again, it keeps you in that rhythm. You're not working hard where you don't need to work hard. Most of the time when I talk about flyers that really struggle coming home, their arms, the shoulders and the top of their arms are tired. But that's because they're not timing these things together and they're not staying loose enough on that recovery. Here, this part here as we extend is all dependent on the length of the stroke. Okay? On a fast, just pure sprint butterfly, this isn't going to be much. It's going to be straight back into that catch and pull and back into that motion. You're going longer event, like a 200 butterfly, all of a sudden this starts to extend a little bit. You have that full reach out front into that catch, and you have a little bit of extra time to take advantage of that. So that's where that length comes in. One of the biggest mistakes you see, especially as a developing flyer, is the timing of your breath. Okay? Where you take that breath in terms of the catch and the pull and into that recovery is crucial. The biggest thing we see out there with people just learning butterfly is they take that pull all the way through and then they'll try to lift their arms and their head up at the same time. As soon as you do that butterfly, you can very, very hard stroke. Okay? We want to be supported by the pull. So this would actually be slightly forward here. So it's overlapping a little bit. It's supported by that pull. So you can be here, coming through here. I take my breath. Then I'm ready to get my head back down before my recovery starts. So then my arms can come over and I'm just kind of flying down that downhill part of the stroke as I get into then, depending on how far I'm going or what speed I'm going at, how long that extension out front is going to be. So now as we walk through this stroke just a little bit, on that catch and pull, you want to enter shoulder width or just outside. Those of you that have a little bit smarter time, or if that swimmer just isn't quite strong enough to create that power in front, then you can start to kind of let it go just a little bit farther outside. And you get into that catch from there, and you pull through. What you don't want to do, we talked about a little bit in the water, is don't let those hands come all the way in and then back out. One, it's wasted motion, but two, as soon as I get in here and I go out, naturally my elbows start to point down. Okay? It's really hard for me to go back out and be here and do it. I'm working really hard on my shoulders and able to do it. Versus if I get here originally, I don't have to work as hard to get into that catch position. But if you let those hands come all the way in and then back out, almost every time your elbows are going to be facing down. This is where I am when I start my pull. It's only natural that I'm going to drop my elbows and lose a lot of that power that we talked about. We want to get into that shoulder width, and then we want to get into that power catch. Fingers pointed down, just in front of you, so not straight down like in freestyle necessarily. Just in front of you, so you have a little bit of that lift, but it's mainly that forward direction that we want to go on butterfly. That pull pattern, once we get here, is just pulling straight towards that hip. Don't allow it to go out and then in and then back. Most of the time when you see that top now, or done now I should say more than top, is because people are trying to slip through the water. It's a natural tendency of somebody who doesn't feel strong enough or feels too tired to create that power, that they're either going to drop their elbows and let it slip through, or they get into this thing, here, and then it comes out, and then back in, and then out, and then push down. We're losing that power. We lose that power, we lose that speed in the water. You want to really work on that. Tell our flyers all the time, fly's not going to be an easy stroke. Sorry, it's just not going to be easy. What we can do, though, is make it easier. Work the right things, work that catch, work that pull, so everything engages at the same time, my shoulders, my arms, and all my lats coming through here engage and all pull down. I allow my shoulders to drop down, my elbows drop, and then I pull through. I lose power, and I put a lot more stress on my shoulders. At this point, get that catch here, and then engage everything until you finish all the way through. The finish part of that stroke, and where you're finishing here and supporting that breath, it's all about those triceps. It's all about staying engaged and pressing all the way through until your triceps can't move. And as soon as that point goes, you're bringing those hands around and getting into that loose, fast recovery of that stroke. All right, so now we have that catch in the pull. We have that nice, powerful catch. Those elbows coming up, engaging that water. We're pulling all the way through. We press through with those triceps to finish that. And then we get into that recovery. Before we do, though, that breath sit. We talked about the breath being right over the water, making sure that we're going forward on it. What we didn't talk about quite yet is when we don't breathe. A lot of the times when we don't breathe, people want to force their head down and try to make it go faster, or they feel faster that way. One of the reasons I believe you feel faster is you're actually fighting against the water more. So you feel the water flowing by your face, your ears, because you're forcing that head down and creating more drag than you have to. When I talk to flyers, I want this rhythm to be the same. Whether they take the breath or not, that height of the stroke stays the same. That rhythm of the stroke stays the same. We don't change it from a breathing stroke to a non-breathing stroke. Ideally, our catch and pull doesn't change when we have that breathing stroke to non-breathing stroke. So when we don't breathe, don't force that head down. A lot of times they'll get here and then they'll try to force that head down and be lower. What you're doing is you're cutting that hill off a little bit too much and you're ruining the momentum and that flow to the stroke. The more that you can get the butterfly to flow, you'll see different styles, you'll see different recoveries, some with a more bent elbow, some with a straight arm. To me, it's about being relaxed, and it's about trying to make sure you stay in that rhythm to the stroke, flow to the stroke. If you can do that, then you're going to be able to have everything, every piece of this work together. If that's what we can do, then not only will you be faster, you'll be able to hold that stroke much longer as you go through any amount of racing. So now we have this whole idea of the stroke and where we are and how we can have this flow. We talked a little bit about here about the length of the stroke. How long can we make the stroke? A little bit will depend on what event it is. If it's a 50 fly versus a 200 fly, this is going to change a little bit. It's also going to depend on individuals. For me, stroke technique is all about that individual. Yes, there are guiding principles for every single stroke, but then when you get to an individual, there has to be that fluctuation of what's best for that individual, and to some degree, what's best for that individual at that time. They can continue to learn and perform at a new level along the way and change their technique along the way, but it's finding that best technique for that individual in my mind. So one of the things I look at is it's a pretty basic formula, but we balance power
базовая формула,
over tempo
для которой мы используем для дельфина,
to find speed.
чтобы сделать скоростное
This is
плавание.
it. How much power we can get, how fast we can do it, what that stroke rate is going to be, and how fast that's going to be. It's going to result in how fast you swim overall through that stroke, any stroke. Okay? So, random numbers, but rough numbers. Let's say the power is up at a 10, but the tempo is down by 1.2. It takes you 1.2 seconds to get around a full cycle. So you're somewhere around a speed of 8.3. Okay? But what if I lose that power? What if I'm not as strong, if I'm a younger swimmer, or I'm just not as strong yet, and I go down to an 8, but I'm able to get to a 8.9 tempo, all of a sudden, my speed is 8.9, if I did that correctly. Now all of a sudden, this person with much less power is faster because they balanced that with a 0.9 tempo. They're repeating that rate faster. So we look at that two ways. One, there can be more tempo-based swimmers than power. So this is the way that they should swim it. But they have to commit to that tempo. If they go 1.2 at 0.8 or at an 8 power, they're going to be slower. So we want to find what that perfect balance is for each individual, and then we want to take it into race. We've gone as far in Rose Bowl to adjust the fly within a race. We talk a lot about finding that power and that length to the stroke. So a 200-meter butterfly should be as long of a stroke as you're going to do. Long, relaxed, having that easy speed, truly easy speed going out. But then as you go through, you're going to start to get tired. So now this might be the first 50, a little bit slower tempo, a little bit more power. But then by the time we get to the third 50, when you're hurting a little bit, trying to maintain that power the exact same, chances are most of you start to lose that power or lose the tempo. If we lose that tempo, then we go slow. Our splits drop off and we drop way off on those times. So instead, I start to adjust. Let's start at 10 and 1.2, roughly. But then on the end, whether it's the last 25, whether it's the last 30 or just 15, we get rid of a little bit of that tempo, but we increase that tempo. We increase the tempo, we get rid of a little bit of the power. That way I still have that speed coming home. I can still race home. Sometimes to have this balance, we actually shorten the stroke. We get them started a little bit sooner, we cut their length off a little bit quicker, and we shorten that stroke and get into that wall faster, but maintaining whatever power we have. We can't slip through, we have to maintain that power. So it's finding what that individual is going to be best at, and when it's going to be best. For me to find that drive in the last 50 of that 200 fly when you're already hurting, something had to change. It couldn't just be tempo and not lose any power. So we don't want to lose the power itself, we just shorten it. So by default, we do create less power, but we're still creating the same stroke. And then we're just repeating it faster and we're going through, similar to what a pure 50 fly would be. You're not going to have much length here, you're going to go straight into that next pole and go through it. So you can adjust how you race and how you swim that stroke based on many different things, whether it's stroke, whether it's power and strength. An 8-year-old is probably going to be more tempo-based than power. A 15-year-old, if you 200, may want to push through and have that tempo come up at the end of races to be able to finish that race better and pass people on that last 50. So, if you've been around swimming long enough, you know one of the hardest things as that people learn fly and try to develop their fly is to find the timing of that catch, or pull, I should say even more, into that breathing.
Одна из самых сложных вещей это сопоставление по времени, когда вы делаете грибок, захват, когда вам нужно взять вдох и добавить удар ногами.
So I like using fins a lot. For our youngers, we use fins probably 80-90% of the time for our flies, or anytime they're doing fly, so that they can focus on doing the stroke correctly. Fins will make that, give them that momentum, give them that power to have that breath be timed during that, right at the top of that stroke, getting that head back down before that recovery. So they don't feel like they have to pull all the way through and then try to breathe and lift their arms. So we use fins quite a bit. Otherwise, we'll try to use some sort of flotation, whether it's a buoy between their legs, where they're not pulling, they are kicking and still swimming the stroke, but that buoy will help keep their hips just a little bit higher and help them get into that rhythm. So they can get used to really swimming, but they'll have a little bit more flotation so they can get into that stroke a little bit easier, and then they can find that timing. The other thing is make sure that they can see it. Make sure they have some sort of demonstration where they know what you are asking for. A diagram like this may help some, otherwise they'll need to see somebody in the water. Get some of your more elite swimmers or those people that really have that timing down for butterfly elite, and let them watch it. Let them see when and where they need to do the different pieces of the stroke. If they can visualize it and truly see it, they'll be able to see it. Last piece of advice is catch it early. Don't let them solidify that as a negative habit. Too often we see swimmers doing it without fins or without any help or assistance to it, and they just struggle to do it over and over again. What they're doing, not on purpose, but what they end up doing is they're creating a habit. They're creating that timing, and as soon as that timing is set with them, the timing in a stroke, in my opinion, is the hardest thing to change. Because once that timing is set and that's your habit, that's the rhythm you want. So as soon as we change that rhythm, it feels weird, it feels awkward, and people don't like to make that change on a timing thing. Catch timing issues early, make those changes early. That comes down to your developmental coaches that really need to be on top of those. So another piece that I really wanted to touch base on here is underwater dolphin kicks. Obviously for butterfly we want to use them, but now in swimming, whether it's freestyle or backstroke where you're trying to push to that 15-meter mark or get as fast as you can underwater at very least, or even breaststroke now has it involved at different places within the stroke. We want to get as strong as possible at those underwater. And while people like to train for speed and do one thing or another, do that. As soon as you have that motion, as soon as you know that rhythm, the bottom line is you have to commit to training. You have to commit to whatever it is off the wall every single time that you're in practice. I suggest to everybody, pick 2, 3, at very minimum, you're going to take 2 or 3 kicks off of every single wall in practice. If you commit to that, and you can go farther, that's fine. But if you commit to doing 2 or 3 kicks off of every single wall, you're going to be training your underwater not only to be faster, but you're going to be training your underwaters to be comfortable to do it on the last lap, or the last 50, or the last half of your race. When most of the people that aren't willing to commit to training it every day off of every wall, they're going to suffer on those last walls. They're going to be the ones that come up before the flags, and you're going to push those underwaters, find that speed, and come out with that momentum to help you carry it home. So it's not all your arms that have to do the weight, the work throughout that entire swim. We're going to balance it through your body. We're going to use your arms. We're going to use your core to find that momentum and that rhythm to it. We're going to use your legs to work those underwaters and to have that final push as you go through those strokes, and as you kick through that recovery, and as you kick again through that entry, that's all going to be there for you. For your underwaters, though, you have to commit to training. You have to be comfortable underwater. We're talking 3, 4, maybe 5 seconds underwater that you have to hold your breath after an open turn, but it's when you are tired, it's when you don't feel like you can. That's when you have to commit to doing it. Not any long, we don't have to do 50s even underwater. We don't even have to do 25s underwater. 15 meters is as far as you can go. Train to do that over and over and over again while you swim and while you're in practice. If you can push, and you start with 1 or 2 kicks, 2 or 3 kicks I should say. Start with that and then start building on. Once you're comfortable and you can do that every practice for a week, for every single wall, then bump it up. Start at 2, bump to 3. I'm going to commit to that. Once you do that every single wall and every single practice for a week or 2, bump it up to 4 and start to go until you can hit that 15-meter mark off of every single wall. And once we build up to that, your competition is going to have to work really hard to keep up with you.
Понятно было объяснение, да?
Тренируйтесь еще.
All right, what we're going to start with is we're going to work the dolphin motion, or the undulation of this stroke, really trying to find a good rhythm as we go through it. So what we're going to do is we're going to set it up by having your hands straight out in front of you, about shoulder width apart, or a little bit further. Your hands through your head are going to stay in a nice tight line, okay? So your head's going to stay in a neutral position, you're going to have this line. From there, about the bottom of your rib cage down, we're going to start that undulation. So you're going to need your trunk involved, use your core to make sure we're here. You're just getting back and forth, getting into that nice, smooth rhythm. Very similar to a dolphin kick, but all I want you to work on is that rhythm. Nice and slow it down, and just work trying to get that timing and rhythm to the stroke. Alright, we're not going to work much underwater on this drill. We're just going to get into that rhythm. Hands right on the surface. He's a little deep with his hands there. A little too much motion. His head can tilt down a little bit more to get into that neutral position. But then through your body, you can see that undulation going all the way through his body. His hips coming up just slightly too high. Ready? Go. All right. Again, not working underwater much, trying to keep those hands still up front and really work the undulation motion all the way through. She's having a little bit too much of a pause. You want a constant motion just up and down and letting that motion just go nice and smooth all the way through that string. What I want you to work on here for Danny, I want you to make sure those hands stay nice and still and don't force those hips up too much. Find that balance between coming forward and back, so everything is in that line, and just get into that motion nice and smooth. Okay? Last thing, keep that head, instead of up like here, just keep it into that neutral position. Okay? Alex, the same thing, hands moving a little bit too much. Try to keep these nice and still. Really focus on here down, and you're having that slight pause. After you cut through here, you pause, and then get into that motion. Try to have it be a seamless motion, nice and smooth rhythm all the way through. All right, again, not working underwater. Hands staying nice and still. Head position in a much better position now, nice and neutral. He's getting a little bit more even balance for his hips. They're not coming up quite as high there. So good, nice, good motion there. Good, you can see head position right in line with the body, hands staying pretty still there. Still a slight pause as her feet come up versus having to be a constant motion all the way through. But otherwise really establishing that rhythm right from the core. Alright, so now we're going to take that next step. Still working undulation, but we're also going to add a little bit of that stroke in. So we're going to do what we call the superfly drill. Same idea. Hands here, you get into that motion, and I'm going to have you go through the undulation motion 3 times. Same exact way that we just did it. Just find that rhythm, get into it. After that 3rd motion, I want you to add 1 single pull, and you're going to breathe during that pull. So you're going to be here for 3 times. 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to find that catch. Take a breath, get back into it, and then straight back into that undulation without any pausing into it. Okay? So it's that undulation 3 times, 1 stroke and a breath, right back into that undulation. Alright, so this drill, we are taking just that next step from that undulation dolphin motion drill. They're going to go 3 times through the undulation, find that same rhythm, and then into 1 stroke with a breath. So this is where they're going to take their breath down. See him find that power and move forward and take that breath. So this drill finds that rhythm to the stroke, but then also adds that power aspect. And you can see sometimes this can be challenging. You're not going to have a lot of momentum going forward. You're going to have to try to find that catch, move that body forward without much momentum behind you. That looked good. The undulation looked great. You got right back into that same drill, a good rhythm to it. When you take that stroke, this is where it becomes a little bit more challenging of a drill. You need to make sure that you find that power, get those elbows up, and be able to send yourself forward. A lot of times we'll get in here and then people will drop their elbows just to come up to breathe and then try to go forward. So it's crucial for us to make sure that as you're going through that motion, get those hands down, get into that catch, and then send your body forward to take that breath. Okay? Alright, again, we take the underwaters out so we can really focus on the stroke here. Let's get into a nice undulation, using that core, getting into a good rhythm. And then really focus on finding that catch in front, creating that power, and being able to send that body forward with that breath. Alright, good. Really like the way they're coming forward with that breath. The chin is just over the water. This drill can be more difficult, so sometimes we put fins on some of our less experienced swimmers to help them with that stroke and find that power. So this superfly drill, we really like the connection of finding that undulation and connecting that power and having that one stroke really coming off of very little momentum, having to find that power, have that breath be forward, that chin right on the water. She gets into a good undulation. And you can see, as she takes that pull, her elbows drop just slightly more than they normally would have. It's because she doesn't have quite as much momentum and she's not quite strong enough to keep those elbows up. All right, so now we've worked the undulation a couple different ways. We're going to take it into a little bit more focus on your legs and your kick. Okay, so we're just going to do some kicking. We're going to do it on your back, we're going to do it on your stomach, we're going to do it on your side. The goal as you go through your dolphin kick is to find that same motion that you were just in and think about yourself going through a tunnel. We don't want your knees to come forward too much and be kicking in front of you. We also don't want to pull back too much and be way back here. All right, so now we've worked the undulation a couple different ways. We're going to take it into a little bit more focus on your legs and your kick. Okay, so I'm just going to do some kicking. We're going to do it on your back, we're going to do it on your stomach, we're going to do it on your side. The goal as you go through your dolphin kick is to find that same motion that you were just in and think about yourself going through a tunnel. We don't want your knees to come forward too much and be kicking in front of you. We also don't want to pull back too much and be way back here. Your knee's going to bend to about 90 degrees, but it's going to be right underneath your body. So if I'm going through and I'm in streamline, my arms, my head all stay in line. That's my torpedo. That's how I get through the water as cleanly as possible. And then behind me, I'm going to have that kick. And my hips are going to lead. My legs are going to follow, so by the time I'm bent my knees about 90 degrees, it's going to be straight underneath me. So then I can pop through, and as soon as I pop, my hips start to come back, and I go. But your hips lead, your legs follow, so you get through, and you get that snap on both sides, especially trying to work that backside. That's where a lot of people fall off and don't get any momentum off of that backside of that kick. We want to have both sides thinking about going through that tight little tunnel, nice and smooth and nice and fast. All right, you can see Danny likes to have those hands move a little bit more than we want. We want that undulation to really start at that core and work down. Good. Alice has a nice clean line on that kick, going through that tunnel nice and smooth. We really like to do dolphin kick on your back. One, it engages that core in front, but it works that back side of that kick much more as you press down on that water. All right, this time we will go on the back one more time. Let's go less underwater. Let's come up by the flags, make sure that we're kicking right on the surface. Really try to make sure those hands stay still and your torpedo on that top part, and then working your undulation and kick from that bottom part of your rib cage all the way through those toes. All right?
Коллеги, перестаньте бубнить, вот я не слышу ничего.
Good. Really thinking about keeping that line straight to that other wall. Using his core, you can see him engage that core, get his hips up, and really pop those toes out of the water. One of the things we look for on this kick is to have those toes snap out of the water. Good. Again, Alex looking like a nice straight line, hands right on the surface. Head right in position. See, starting to lose those toes from popping out of water just slightly, but a really nice kick. All right, now we're going to go side dolphin kicking. I want you to face me, and I want just one arm out front and one arm to your side. Okay, so you're on the surface going side kicking, facing me. Yeah? Danny? So same idea, that hand out front should stay still. Now we're going on the side in hopes to activate both sides of that kick. When you go on your back, you activate that back side of your kick quite a bit. On the side, the goal is to try to keep it even and balanced between both sides. Good. You have a nice narrow kick, really going through that tunnel still. On side kicking, it's really good to see it from that front angle, so you can make sure that they balance that kick out and they have both sides, both that back and front kick activated. As you go through this drill, I would recommend that you get both sides in, just so they have that same rhythm and can get into that same rhythm on both sides. The more they can get used to finding that balance of the kick, both front and back, the better of a dolphin kicker they will become. Really good motion. I like the narrow dolphin kick that she has going. You can get her hips involved a little bit more. You see that from the front angle. You see that her hips staying a little bit too still. All right, now we'll take that dolphin kick onto your stomach. You can go underwater a little bit longer this time. Just make sure we keep those hands nice and still. Have that torpedo in front so that you follow up with power as you go through. All right, Danny, ready? Good, much better on those hands in front. Nice, smooth kick all the way through. Good, as you see on the underwater, a little bit better than on top. Her hips really pressed back. She's not getting her core engaged, so her abs engaged enough to bring those hips forward a little bit and get a little bit more snap out of that front part of the kick. All right, we'll go one more dolphin kick on the surface, on your stomach. So let's come up by the flags, get into that rhythm, really make sure that you're engaging your core, both your abs and your back, to keep that kick nice and balanced all the way through. Okay? All right, Danny? Good. Good, nice, tight streamline. Head stays in line. He'll lift it when he needs to breathe, but otherwise just keeps that nice, tight line. Pushing his hips a little bit high there, but really trying to engage that back side of that kick. Alex, you'll see, keeps that nice line, really narrow kick, so she's going through that tunnel nice and smooth. Still, just same way we saw on that undulation drill, still has that slight pause as her feet come up. We want to try to eliminate that, get nice and smooth into that down kick.
Стопы немножко высоко выходят, нужно поработать, чтобы это избежать. Руки.
All right, great job on that. Now we're going to go into starting to work our arms a little bit more, okay? We're going to start with the power catch, or what we call the power catch. All we're really trying to do is replicate that catch motion over and over again, teach ourselves how to get into that catch. So you're just going to be here, you're going to go into that catch and then slide it back out. Go into that catch and then slide it back out. When we go into this catch, I don't need your hands to come all the way in, or even all the way down necessarily. You're going to be shoulder width or a little bit further outside. You're going to go straight in, so your elbows stay nice and high, your hands come down, just like we want to be on that, okay? So if I was to go from the side, coming through here, my elbows are going to be below the water, probably about 6 inches or so. My hands and fingers are going to point slightly forward, and I'm going to be into this position. That's exactly where I want to have a catch, so I can push myself, have that slight lift, but also mainly be sending myself forward. So that's what we're trying to replicate. Just straight into this and then right back out. Straight into that catch, right back out, and then just keep going all the way through just with that power catch right now. So we've done a lot of this power catch drill over the past few years. You can see Danny there is trying to get a little bit too much of his wrist involved versus getting that straight paddle from his elbow straight to his fingers in front and getting into that motion. Elbows also a little bit too close to that surface. What you want to do is replicate that catch as closely as you can. So if you were to take that stroke, you take it with power from there. Good. For Alex, you can see her hands coming in just a little bit too close. We want to keep it outside of that shoulder width part to really create that power when we actually take that full stroke. You can see as she's gone through this drill, her elbows are starting to get a little bit closer. That is one of the biggest mistakes that swimmers make. All right, overall that looked great. Here's a couple of things that come up the most. One is where those elbows are. As you're going forward, if you imagine I'm going forward and the water level is right with my shoulders, a lot of the times you're allowing those elbows to come up and we're here. So this isn't the catch that we want as we go through that dolphin motion, right? Or that dolphin butterfly pull. We want to be here, and those hands come down, and those elbows are underneath my shoulders and underneath the surface of the water. Okay? And as I pull, I also want to make sure that my elbows go out slightly and my hands stay right underneath my shoulders. If I start to come in here, I'm too close, and I'm going to drop my elbows and I'm going to lose power when I actually add it to the stroke. So all I want is right out front, and you're going to let those elbows slide slightly underwater, and then stay up. And then, Danny, make sure you get away from your wrist motion. You're here and you're kind of going this way versus just having this be one paddle. Getting those elbows up, fingertips pointed down, and getting into this position. So then when we take that stroke, we can take it with all the power that we can create. All right, power catch again. Really focus on getting right into that catch that we want in the butterfly stroke, and then just let it slip right back out front. Got it? All right, Dan. All right, this drill does take a lot of instruction to make sure that they get that drill going correctly. But once they do, we found it really teaches and reinforces that catch in the motion. So they learn how to keep those elbows up, even if it's a little bit high on this drill and closer to the surface. It teaches them that action of putting their hands down and really getting that catch in the front part of that butterfly. So we've also found that regardless of the age, they can do this. It's not a strength requirement. It just takes that focus to really get into that motion. You can see Alice here, letting her hands slide